All right. Good evening, or good morning, or afternoon, whatever it is, and welcome to the Beau Knows podcast, the inaugural episode. We this is a new show, but also an old show. This is something I've done uh, years ago. We used to have guests. We're gonna have some guests, but it's gonna be light. I don't need people coming in here and talking to them about their life. I don't care. So we're not going to do too much of that, but it'll be, it'll be a show, it'll be weekly. You get it, you listen, you watch it. I think you understand how shows work at this point. Yeah, for the YouTubes and the other stuff. But I'm glad to be back doing the show. The show has taken a long time to get back on the air. Losers with a Dream ended the year and a half ago. Since then, we've just kind of vamping and figuring stuff out. But I'm glad to be back. Glad to be back on YouTube. We're gonna be putting this out every week, like I said. And it's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be good. I just got back from Austin, Texas. Did a week of shows out there. Tough place, Austin, Texas. It's a tough place. Lot of problems. A lot of pretty obvious issues walking into Austin, Texas. I had never been. I generally don't travel. I find it superfluous. But I went to Austin to do a run of shows, and I got there, and within like 45 minutes of being there, I saw two people shit on the street, which seems excessive. It doesn't feel like you always need to have, like you don't always have to live up to your reputation. But it was a gross place. For comedy, it's wonderful, and I met a lot of great comics down there. A lot of the guys that do Kill Tony that are crushing it, and it was fun. It was fun. The shows were great, but Austin as a place is not. I don't quite understand. And also, it's a type of place where everybody is like so thrilled to be there. Because there's something happening. There's something happening here. It's Austin. It's weird. and then you're just, I don't like that excitement. That excitement kind of bothers me. Everyone was cool. Like every dude you saw in like a coffee shop or, like a burger place, they all just had like cool, like jackets on. Like shit that if I put it on, I'd be like, I can't pull this off. You know what I mean? Like the whole day, I would have been like, I shouldn't have bought this jacket. And they're walking in, being like, no, it's cool, And and then the girls that they're not that attractive, but they think they are because they're in a big city. That type of thing, where it's like, well, I have something going on, and it's like, all right, what can you do? But I did. I stayed in an Airbnb. It was a gay couple's Airbnb. So there was a lot of pride stuff all over the place. And I was staying with my buddy. And it was nice. It was nice to see what it would be like to live as a gay couple in Austin, Texas. It was nice I've always wanted to have that experience. And now I've had it. And it was good. It was good. It's... it was cold as shit down there the week I was down there. It was awful. It was like 15 degrees and just desert cold. It's just unrealistic. Like it's just everybody's freaking out, But it was fun, man. The shows were good. The city's a dump. You go down 6th Street and there's no culture. It's a bachelorette town, right? It's people go there, they get drunk. They throw their shit around for a week. They do coke. They cheat on their husband. They cheat on their wife. And then they go back and they go, oh, that was crazy. They eat too much. The food down there is just poison. There's no, I get it, barbecue. It's all just poison. Every meal I ate, I had to take a nap afterwards. That's not, it's not a realistic place to live. But... and of course, the whole time I'm down there, I'm doing shows, and the comics are like, "What? You thinking about moving here? You thinking about moving?" I'm like, "I don't know, man." I talked to this one comic. He was like, "Yeah, I moved here 3 months ago. I've witnessed 7 shootings." I was like, "Okay." So yeah, I should probably go, I guess. I've always wanted to see shootings up close. You know, but I did. I checked out the mothership. I got on and I did some stand up and it was cool, man. It's a really cool club. It's, you know, it's exactly as cool as you think it's going to be. It's a really cool place and there's cool people and they're going to the show and whatever. You know. But once again, I don't appreciate being around people that are too cool. And then the airport, it's very like it's weird because you fly in and the airport's like, we're a music city, you know, it's just music. Here we go. You're about to see so much live music, and then there's no like you walk down the street and no one's playing live music. You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, there were a few like emo bands or whatever, but it's not exactly a musical. Do you know what I mean? Like Nashville was musical.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Like when I was in Nashville, I was like, "Oh, this is like they deal with music here. Like everything
is music." It's not them telling everybody this is the place to go to see music. It's just whenever you hear Nashville, people are like, "Oh yeah, Nashville is like the place to go see music." Right. You walk down every single bar, every single restaurant has live music.
100%. And
everyone's got a slide guitar. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And it's all good music. Yeah. Like it's great, and it's very much like the difference between someone that like talks about how they have money. And they're just like, I'm rich. I have so much money. I'm so rich. And then the person that's like, I got it. The person that's like chill about it, they got way more money. Yeah. Always, right?
What was it? It was Chappelle had a bit about that, I think. Yeah. Where it was like billionaires don't wear chains. Yeah. Like they don't need to, you know, like right. Steve Jobs. He's not walking out here with Gucci trans glasses.
People with him. Is that his punchline?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah. But yeah, that's totally totally a thing. If you just hype yourself up with something, it's like, dude, it's not even really you at that point.
No, it's completely absurd. But that's Jeff on the line there. That's my producer Jeff. He'll be coming in and out on the ones and twos. But yeah, man, it just you know, I think they really try to oversell the music thing, and then it's like, what is it? But I was in the airport. I have to tell the story. I told Jeff, I looked at my phone. I remember this story on the way in because I'm not going to prepare for the show. It would be disingenuous. I don't prepare for anything in my life. So then to come on this show and be like, next topic, here we go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have that. But essentially, I was in the airport. And I was at an airport bar / breakfast. Like, they were doing too much. You know what I mean? It was like a bar that was serving food, and they had games on, but it's like 10 a.m. And there's this guy sitting at the bar kind of near me, and I'm not at the bar because I have a disease. But I'm sitting at a table, and the guy's up there at the bar, and he goes, dude. He goes to the bartender, dude. And by the way, this guy's like mid-50s. Really hot young chick with him, dressing like he's 22, right? So there's already some like visible issues just looking at him, right? He was wearing like a necklace that like looked like he got it off a kid at a fish show. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it was like braided and had like a pouch. Oh. And it was like, what? Where are you going? Like, what's the point? And so I look over and I'm kind of like disgusted by him and confused by him. And I'm sensing his like energetic but also really desperate energy at the bar, right? And he yells over to the bartender. He's like, "Come here," you know. And the guy comes over and he's kind of washing a glass, you know. And he goes, "You know my drink?" And the bartender's like, "No, man, it's 10 a.m. I don't know your drink. This is an airport. You're not a regular here." Do you know what I mean? Like. He goes, it's called the LFG. His drink is called the LFG. And the bartender goes, I don't know what that is, man. And he goes, come on. It's champagne, orange juice, and vodka. Let's fucking go. And I have never been more angry. I was sitting at my table, and I looked at Cody, and I was like, I could kill him right now. And feel absolved immediately of all of my sin. You know what I mean? Like I would be like, it's okay. I got the feeling that if I killed him at that moment, that people at the bar would have been like, you know what? We had to do it.
Yeah, don't call the police. It's fine. We got it covered.
Yeah.
Like the threat is gone.
Yeah. You know, like it was just, I just wanted to put him out of his misery because the girl that's with him, she's got tattoos. She's hot. She's kind of sitting there, but she's just kind of interested by this guy. Like, she doesn't quite know. And then what happens is people start, like, kind of coming up and giving him attention, right? So I'm a little confused. And what I realized was that he was, like, a VP of some tech company, and they were going on a retreat. And so all of these, like, people that work under him are kind of hanging around acting like he's cool, right? And there's nothing worse than the corporate setting of, like, there's this douchebag that I have to now pretend is a cool, fun guy to hang out with.
Because I want to keep my job.
Yeah. Well, because I want to keep my job, or I want to, like, get a few levels ahead on this trip.
Yeah.
Right? And so now I have to, like, sucker myself up to an absolute sociopath. God. Right? Like a literal snake, a literal piece of shit. Now I have to, like, act like he's a cool and interesting person. Right? And it was like, and I felt, because I watched these, like, you know, a couple of these guys walk up and be like, hey, really excited for the trip, you know, and, like, it's going to be fun. I'm going to learn a lot. I'm going to learn a lot down here, you know, and he's kind of, like, pushing them to drink. He's like, come on, what? Yeah, what? It's not, come on, man. Is happy hour yet? Well, it's too early for you, you know? And then he's talking about how, I hear him go to one guy, like, well, here's the thing, man. You get drunk, you wake up, you roll over, you crush work, and then you're at the bar by noon. Every day this week, man, it's going to be off the chain, right? And my blood is boiling. You know, I can't stress, like, this was the worst moment of the trip for me. It was the best moment, because obviously, like, I'm, like, kind of secretly masturbating as this is, because I hate him so much that I feel good. Yeah. You know? And that's one of the things, like, you know, when you get sober, or you work on yourself in therapy and shit like that, people will be like, you gotta like, not judge people. You can't judge. There's no judging. Right? So when you see people and you meet them out and there are a certain way, we don't judge them. We just let them be them and you be you. And it's God. Like, no. I can't, my soul can't be fed unless I accurately feel all of the feelings of hatred I want to for this guy. Right? And it just, so obviously there's the I'm loving it and there's the masturbatory experience of it. But then there's also, like, the sadness of seeing that these people have to, like, live this way, because in real society, in a society that I hope, in the America that I love, that man is drug out in the street and shot, right? He's killed on sight, right? Because it's just, you can't we got to stop with the braided necklaces. We can't have you coming around being weird.
See, I don't know what this guy looks like, but I have a mental image in my head. Yeah, and it's not good.
It's very, like, Jeff Bezos light. He's a bald man, kind of looks like a little AIDSy, like he's thin, and he's just kind of, like, wiry. And I'm in shape, and I do the Peloton, and I'm doing my thing, and and all of his clothes don't really make sense. Like, he's wearing flip flops, but then he's wearing, like, these like, linen pants, you know what I mean? Like just a weird.
Do you know where
vibe.
they were going?
I didn't pick up on that.
Oh, okay.
I assumed it was some sort of a corporate retreat, so I assumed, like, a Tulum.
Yeah.
Maybe even a Hawaii, right? Like, somewhere where you can get away from it all, and we can do team building, right? So that's kind of what I assumed, but just the confidence of that guy, the experience of him thinking, like, here's my great, like, joke at the bar, the LFG, And then there was also one other thing, because I had a read on him before the bar, because as I was going in for security, he had pre-check. And when we got to security, I met him at the same. We were at the, like, we came up to the gate at the same time, but I was there a little bit before, right? I was just an inch before. I was a cunt hair past him, and in my mind, I was like, I know he's got pre-check, but I'm ahead here. I'll go, and then you're in. You just skipped the whole line. Why can't I just go now? And he didn't even look at me. He just played through with his girl, and And yeah, that was like the first moment where I was like, I hate him. I don't know what his deal is. And then yeah, I may have followed him to where he was going to have breakfast. All right. Yeah, I've stalked this guy for like 30 to 40 minutes. But it was all worth it. And I told Cody, I go, we got to just see where he's going. Like, people like that just fascinate me. Any type of like unreasonable confidence just fascinates me. Because a guy like that is going to always be sleeping with like women in their 20s. Because he's going to have the ability to just convince the world that he's got something playing. You know what I mean? And whether it's money or if it's just like, you know, life or whatever, like he's one of those people that just always acts like he's got a little skin in the game when really, like, you know, what is he? He's not much. There's not much really happening. He's had a few divorces. It's not that interesting. You know, he talks about Shark Tank a lot. That's weird. You know what I mean? Like, he's not really a great person. But these women, these younger women, will always be like pulled into the atmosphere of a guy like this, you know? And I think it's interesting because, I mean, as somebody, I mean, I'm in a relationship now, but I was dating for a long time. And like, dating is this experience of like trying to find things that match, right? Like, you're always trying to find, and the reality of dating is that you're always looking for the equal, other gender of you, right? You're looking for like, okay, what is the opposite gender delivering that is Beau's best option, right? Like, where if I were to look across the aisle, who's on my level for women, right? And the problem with that, because that's an honest way to date, is to go like, okay, you're about, like, I'm not that great, I don't have that much money, I'm talented but I'm not famous or anything, and you're, you know, a little chubby, you're funny, you're nice, you know, yeah, you're in a little bit of debt, but that's okay. Like, you're not gorgeous, but you're good looking, and you're a really good person, right? So, what right there, we both have flaws. None of us are really that great, but we should meet in the middle and have a relationship, and maybe even get married and have kids, right? But the problem is that like, people look at other people and they have such a distorted view of where they are on the two. This is my Italians coming out on these like two sides of the spectrum. Like, you know, you see guys that are just, they believe themselves to be so much higher than they are, and then they go out with someone that is actually above where they are, right? They're actually like, the woman that they're dating is actually out of their league, but since they're so like wrapped up in like who they think they are, now they're like, nah, she's not, you know, she's not good enough for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they like spoil great opportunities down the line, like just spoil, you know? And I think that like women do a similar thing with guys like that, where they're like, you know, they see that and they're like, oh, like they're mesmerized by the smoke and mirrors of him putting himself in a place that he should not be. Like, realistically, that guy should be dating a woman that's in her 40s or 50s, that's kind of been through some things, you know, having a hard time. You know, kids they're okay, but one of them's got a bit of a drug problem. Like, it's figuring itself out. She's had some life experience. She wants to move forward. She really just wants to go to Chili's, have something good to eat, and get fucked afterwards. That's really all she wants, right? And that guy, that's what he can deliver. He really, every time he tries to deliver more than that, it gets a little funky. Every time he's like telling the 25-year-old, let's go to a music festival this weekend. That's going to be fun. Like, let's go to and then he gets there and she slowly starts to realize like he can't really handle it. Like, he's tired all the time. He doesn't really know the music. He's saying he knows this new band. They go, it's not that good. He doesn't know any of the songs. He doesn't really know anything. It's not fun for him. It's not fun for her. It's a bad experience. Do you know what I mean? So that's really where it comes down to, is like these, like with the dating, it's tough. I've been in that situation. I've met women that are perfect for where I am. I just didn't want to accept where I was. You know, like, it's hard, like, and it's hard because you want to be better than you are. We all want to be better than we are. But when it comes to finding someone that works for you, you have to kind of like accept who you are. And if you can't accept who you are, then you really can't. You can't. There's no ticket.
Well, you're just not ready for a relationship at that point.
Yeah, no ticky, no laundry. Yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah,
So that's the advice that I impart to you as a 23-year-old.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Is that understand exactly who you are. Don't try to play up. I got a buddy that's like 450 pounds and thinks he should be dating models. And it's just like, as much as you try to have the conversation of like, I don't think that makes any sense. Like you're only breaking through like the first layer of that insanity, and he's gonna he'll replace the tissue the second you leave the conversation.
And if you don't, and there's like all these different categories for things that people want in a person. Yeah. Obviously some people are shallow, and it's just like, oh, he has to have a lot of money, a solid job, not crazy hours, so we can do things together. You know what I mean? But then there's the people who have that realistic perspective where it's like, oh, wait, I don't need someone with the crazy money. I want someone who's going to actually be entertaining to be with, like actually have a good time, have like a quality, spend quality time together. But like this guy that you saw in the airport, that seems like a total example of like, I have money, I act like I'm fun. And so the younger girls are going to want to hang out because they get the free drinks, they get the whatever. But when it comes to like the sex and when it comes to like the conversations and the doing things actually together, like what about when you got a rainy day and you're at home? Yeah. Like what are you going to do?
Yeah. You know what I mean? You run out.
Yeah, you run out of ideas and it's just like, I don't like this guy anymore unless we're going out.
Yeah. Yeah. And also like it's something that young people don't understand is that like money is unfortunately boring. Yeah. Like people that have a lot are unfortunately usually pretty boring. There's not really much that they're doing that is of any interest.
And when you say money, and let's say it's like, not just millionaire, because there's a lot of people out there who have $1 million, right? But like who have like fuck you money. Yeah. Like I'm gonna buy this car because I fucking can.
It's so
those
boring.
People, that's boring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just boring because they spent a lot of these people, if they didn't win the lottery or didn't get handed down to them, they're working. Their entire life has been trying to make that money. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, you don't even have a hobby.
Yeah, like, the life is over. It's been lived. Right? It's
you
kind
don't
of
have anything to prove anymore.
No, the life is over. That's really what it is. It's like you put it all out there to get to this place. You reached it. You could have died then. You could have died the moment there was $1 billion in the bank account, and honestly, you wouldn't have missed much. No. Right? Because now, from here on out, it's just kind of like moving from place to place, like staring on, Eggs Benedict. Okay. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Oh, we're going to go jet skiing. Like, it starts to lose its... And, all this coming from somebody that doesn't... have it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I don't really know from first person experience.
But I've also, my experience that I'll give you is that I've been around people that have a lot of money, and there's just not a lot you can talk about. There's not a lot going on. It's kind of like superficial conversations, and generally it's kind of boring. Like there's just not a lot happening. Like, there's nothing wrong with being boring. Like listen, if the choice is to be boring with a yacht or to be a really interesting guy that's got a crazy life and he lives in a studio at 45, like I think I'm taking the yacht and boring. You know what I mean? Like every day. Yeah. I'll eat brie and have a shitty conversation all day, right? But I just think when it comes to like people fantasizing about that lifestyle or those types of people that they want to date, there's always like the expectation that now my life is going to be so, and then it's it's not that great.
It's almost equivalent to like when you're in high school and you're like, oh man, like that artist is so hot, like, oh, Dua Lipa is so hot, I want to be with Dua Lipa. Yeah. When you're in like middle school and you're like, I'm gonna fucking marry her. Yeah. Right. It's like that's the amount of realism that you're missing. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Those are not real people. Like when I was growing up, I wanted to date Britney Spears because she was hot. And she had blonde hair.
Period.
And she had a tummy ring, and I thought that was interesting. And now if I dated Britney Spears, I'd probably kill her.
You'd probably kill yourself afterward.
Yeah,
too.
It would be a murder-suicide.
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely.
Although I do think doesn't she have some new music out? Can you look that up?
Yeah, I don't know.
I heard she's got a new tune. We support her on this show as somebody who's, who masturbated to her. It would be wrong if I didn't support her. And give me a recent photo. Give me something new. I don't know if that's new.
I don't know if that doesn't look new. But also with her, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's definitely not new.
No. But she was a piece. I mean, for years. Yeah, it's tough now. Look at that. Yeah. But you know what?
She looks great.
You know what?
She looks great.
Not bad. Okay.
Yeah.
See, that looks like a woman that's in her 50s. That's not even 50, 40s.
She doesn't look that old.
You don't
of course,
think
this is on stage.
Yeah, it's airbrushed.
She's got all this. Yeah, she's got all the makeup on and all the
I
work
guarantee
done, the body makeup.
You see her without all that shit on, and you're like, okay, this is a woman in her 40s who's has been smoking for 15 years, and she's a little worse for wear, but she's still got it. Like there's still something about her. Like you want to take her out, get her some oysters, get her lubed up, having a good night. There's something still about her that's good.
She said she's teasing a new project coming up.
Ooh, a tease me. I mean, I don't know. I got to be honest. It kind of felt like when they, because everyone wanted her to be free, and then she got free, and then everyone was like, oh, no, she's on Instagram showing her ass and like playing with knives.
Have you seen her Instagram? Recently?
Not recently.
Some of her videos, it's like she's playing a song, she's doing like her choreography.
Yeah.
To like,
but you know what?
Like practicing
here's
choreography.
The problem with people.
Like
okay, so here's the thing. Because people are like, well, she's on Instagram and she's doing these dances. This is what she was told to do her whole life to be famous, to be hot, to be interesting to people.
Way. Yeah.
She's a literal fucking trained monkey.
Yeah.
She's not like... We got to stop with like these people are real people that have feelings. Like this is a person that was like literally trained as a child, like a monkey, to do tricks, to get a certain reaction out of people, to make a certain amount of money so that her parents could fuck off and do blow. Right? Like that's all it was. And so now she's in her 40s or however fucking old she is, and she's got her freedom back, and she's got a phone, and she's going to put it in front of her face, and she's going to do all the things that she was told as a child make her life go easy.
But she's doing it on her terms now.
Yes, it's on her terms.
But of course, once all that drama went away, people don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
It's the drama that people eat up, like, oh, free Britney, right? But then it's like, now what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you celebrating?
No, I'm not celebrating that she's free.
You know what I mean? It's like
I never really cared that she wasn't free, if I'm honest.
It's too late. Like you're saying, it's too late. She's already been trained to do all this stuff. She's gonna do her shows. She's probably gonna have a good time still. It's just now she actually gets the money.
She does. She gets a little bit of cash. So, I mean, and she's got a bunch of kids, and she's got to take care of those kids. So it's good. It's good. I think whatever happens with her is going to be fine. There was another story I was looking at that was, if you can pull it up, it's a Michigan school shooting, and it was this kid, and it was on the Daily Mail, and of course it's just kind of like Daily Mail disaster porn.
Oh man, look at this kid. Jeez.
Yeah, he's kind of clearly the issue, And he killed 4 people at the school, and the parents are actually getting charged, which is I believe a new thing. It doesn't happen that often that the parents actually go down with the kid. But I was reading into it, and you can pull up an article. I think there's a recent article on it in the Daily Mail, but essentially what happened is the parents thought it'd be fun to get their child a weapon, because I guess he was having a hard time with school and with friends. And when you're having a hard time with school and with your friends, it's usually a good idea to carry a firearm. right? Like that usually seems like the next.
That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I got a D in history, my mom said, "Hey, here's an Uzi.
Yeah.
Why don't you have a good weekend?"
Yeah.
You know, because that's
just don't be out too late.
Yeah. No partying, but you know, you take the Uzi out, you spray it around a few times.
Call me if you drink.
Yeah.
All right. But make sure you got enough bullets.
Yeah. So this Michigan kid, he gets the Uzi or whatever. It's a handgun. And his parents, there's a video on there. It's only like 6 seconds. It's not worth playing. But there's a video on there, and it's the parents actually confronting the kid because they're like, you know, they're having their moment of like, how could you do this, right? And you see, this is what he put on his homework.
Yeah, on his homework, he's got a picture of a handgun.
Yeah.
And it says, "The thoughts won't stop.
Yeah.
Help me."
Doesn't really seem like a
blood
kid.
everywhere.
Yeah. Doesn't really seem like a kid that needs a gun.
Also, just by the looks of him.
Yeah, you can tell.
10 years ago, you probably could have.
This is another thing. Like, the same way you should know who you're supposed to date, know if your kid's, like, likely to shoot up the school.
Yeah.
Like, have a little intuition. The lack of intuition with people is fucking crazy to me. Because, like, even you, and they can't see you on camera because you're a really nice guy and you don't have a bad look to you at all. But I'd say if you dropped 15 pounds and you were wearing a black hoodie and you were my kid and you came home from middle school and you were like, fucking everybody hates me and I don't know what to do, I'd be like, maybe we're not getting this one a firearm. You know what I mean? Like, it would just be, at the very least, I'm not bringing you to a gun range.
Yeah.
You know, like we can, you know, we'll sign you up for basketball.
Yeah.
We'll get you moving outside. You know, I'll talk to you about girls. How's that going?
Yeah.
Right. Are you interested in boys? Like, is that happening?
Make me some cookies.
Early? Yeah. A couple cookies, a good meal.
Why don't you go? Let's go get you a new graphics card for your computer so you can play Fortnite.
Yeah. You know what? You like the computer? We'll keep you on there for a few extra hours this week. All right, you're gonna feel better.
Just get your homework done.
Get the homework done. Just don't bring any weapons to school.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like with a kid like you, I could see like just the little trigger, not your personality, but just off look. You have to. And this is the whole thing is about judgment. I think this is an entire episode on judgment. You have to have good judgment when you look at people. Judging people is not bad. If you do not judge your child, then you're going to end up doing time. Right? Look at these two fucking poor
looking at
idiots.
these pictures, either of them could have been the school shooter too.
Yeah, they're a mess.
They wouldn't be able to tell, unfortunately.
No one ever looks good in a mugshot. So let's be clear,
true.
Jeff.
It is actually pretty decent lighting, though.
Yeah, it does. Well,
They did a good job. Their production team over there at the precinct.
Yeah, Michigan's got a little cash. But anyways, and this kid's in the corner and he's sitting there and what's the name again?
Ethan Crumbley's or Ethan Crumbley.
Yeah. So I don't think it's I think you have to think about, because obviously I'm not somebody who doesn't think that people should own guns. Like, I think it's fine if you're a reasonable person, you want to own a gun. I just don't know if buying your son a gun is a move.
How old is he? Oh, 17?
Yeah. And so here's what happened, though, because here's the timeline of events, because I researched this. So the timeline of events is he writes all of this crazy shit on his homework, right? Like, the voices won't stop. Here's a gun. Here's blood everywhere. I'm crazy, right? Just like a real cry for help, right? And then he brings that to school, gives it to his teacher, which that's if that's not like, hey, I'm about to do something, I don't know what is. Do you know what I mean? If you handing the teacher that homework assignment, like, that's like, hey, I mean, you better get me locked up by lunch, otherwise people are going down.
Or at least the principal's office. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's really making it out of this alive unless you do something right now. I know you're paid $35,000 a year, but you got to figure it out. You got to hop to.
I know you guys can't see this, but the image here of his homework is like it's like math. It's like geometry.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he filled it out.
He doesn't
right?
act. He acts like there's no geometry on the page.
Yeah.
It's
he got his name,
yeah.
the date. I never put the date on mine. I always forget that.
Well,
he got that.
These killers, they like details.
And it just says like, the thoughts won't stop. Help me, blood everywhere.
Yeah.
My life is useless. The world is dead.
Right.
It's like, I'm sorry, that's not an obtuse triangle, my
nope,
friend.
It's not. And you know what? It's not good, and the Pythagorean theorem has nothing to do with that. So he hands this to the teacher, and she calls the parents in. Now, at no point is there the discussion between the teacher and the child, like, do you have a weapon? Like, that's never discussed, even though it's kind of clear, like, he may have a weapon. If you're drawing a gun and being like, here we go, like, maybe ask that question. Like, do you have access to a weapon today, Henry, or Ethan, or whatever the fuck it is, right? So they bring the parents in who know he has a weapon because they bought him one for his birthday because Ethan was a good boy that year. So they bought him a weapon, and they know he has one. And they go into the school, and the teacher goes, hey, here's the homework. Here's the fucking suicide note your kid wrote me for geometry class. And the parents are like, oh, that's no good, They don't take him out of school because why would you, right? Why would you?
He's just a kid. He's learning.
We're having fun.
He's figuring out his life.
We're having a good time. Yeah, why take him out? So they don't take him out of school. What they decide to do is they go, well, is everything going to be, do you feel? And he's like, yeah, sure, yeah. And the thing is, like, kids, I'm not even a parent, and I know this shit. Kids don't go out and tell you the problem. They don't have the ability to do that. They don't have the ability to voice their experience in the moment. They can only, like, lash out and in that moment show you that there's something wrong. And if you pick up on it because you're a fucking caring, empathetic individual, then you can help diagnose what's happening with your child. But if you just look at him and go, hey, are you going to kill people today? And he goes, no, you can't go like, oh, well, he said no. He said no, so I guess we shouldn't be worried about it, right? Like, they don't have the poetry of language to tell you how fucked up they are. The only thing that they really have is these sudden, spastic, insane movements that they do. And hopefully it's not, killing a kid. Hopefully it's I'm smoking a cigarette on the roof. Like that's what it normally is like I stayed out too late and got a little drunk and I'm upset in my room and I'm listening to a lot of Blink-182, listening to a lot of Adam's song, and and then the parent comes in, they're like, we kind of noticed a few things, and he's like, yeah, well, you're getting divorced, and that's not good for me, right? But in this situation, it's like, hey, let's just get him out. You just got to get him out.
On this exam, it says, he puts the time, which I assume is the time he started. It says 8:59 a.m. And then down here in the article, it shows like emails that were sent by Mrs. Jacqueline Kubina, who is probably the English teacher they had like next. And this is it's all like, I had a student during first hour today, and he was looking up bullets on his phone. And it's like, you guys didn't, all it takes is a minute to get this kid the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? But instead, it's like, we have to figure this out before we make everyone look bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's also their ass on the line, too, if they just, like, you know what I mean? But it's like, this is pretty obvious.
Yeah. There's only so many, like, fairly blatant signs that a kid's about to shoot up a school.
And this is all of them.
Yeah. 100%. He really, he did the whole thing. I remember when I was in middle school, there was a kid that brought a knife to school. There was a few kids that had brought knives to school. Stuff, shit like that.
It's cool.
Yeah. It was. As long as you were, like, cool about it. And
if you're not threatening
you can't
people.
pull it out in the hallway, But if you're like, yeah, I got my knife, and you just kind of, like, play it cool.
Dude, nice.
Yeah, it's kind of like, all right, look at that kid,
That's cool. He can defend himself.
He's got a knife.
Sweet.
Hey,
right.
He's 12?
Yeah.
That's exciting. Maybe I'll blow him.
Hey,
what
that's 1 year before 13, okay? And 13 is knife time.
That is knife. It's a knife party at 13.
It's a knife party.
But yeah, like, there were kids, and if I remember like multiple kids getting suspended for a week for bringing in a knife. You catch a week on that. But any friend that I had, because I had friends that tried to kill themselves at that young age. I had friends that like went to rehab and like programs and shit like that at a young age. And like, you know, the deal with those kids was like, it was pretty fucking clear to everybody that something was going on. You know what I mean? Like nobody was like, oh, like that came out of nowhere. You know, they were like, yeah, no, he was screaming, he needed to be restrained, and now he's not going to be in school for a month. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of obvious. When I watch when I like read or check any of this shit out, like it terrifies me to be a kid. It terrifies me to have a kid, because it's a lot to deal with. And you know, I really think that kids come out the way that they are, and then we can kind of help nurture them. We can change about 10%. It's like they're about this, and then we can adjust it. I can make them 10% worse, or I can make them 10% better. Like that's really the only thing I can do as a parent, is what I believe. There are some people who believe that it's all nurture, and that they, you know, if I just love Timmy enough, he's going to be the president, you know. Or if we get him to the right schools and we feed him the right organic cherries, like he is going to be fine. He's going to make it. Everything's going to be perfect. He's going to be the best woman. He's going to be a CEO at 30, and everyone's going to love him. And, you know, for the most part, I don't believe in that. I don't believe that you can like diet and micromanage your kid into a perfect specimen. It just doesn't work that way. My parents were pretty unavailable for my childhood, even though they were there. They were very like emotionally like, yeah, you know, do your thing. And that was only because there was 4 kids. There was 4 kids, and it's like you can only, like, that's not even man defense. That's zone, and they're, you know, my father's not, you know, he's not Bill Belichick. So it was a bad zone defense. Yeah. We were getting away with a lot of smoking weed in the woods, a lot of all that shit. Little coke, little ecstasy, young, right? So, I don't know. I don't think that there's a good way to go. I do. Speaking of people on the internet that have just fascinated me, there is this lady that I want you to look up, Jeff. Her name on Instagram is LEW Kelly06. This was something that I ran into today that blew me away. It blew me away, Jeff. It is this is how her bio reads. Lindsay Wadman Kelly. We can't get sued for any of this, right?
I don't think so. If it's public.
Yeah, all right. Well, what are they going to take? Life coach for caregivers. Caregiver to my hubs, igniting change. So essentially what this woman is she has a husband who has MS, which is obviously horrible. She has a husband who has MS, and she films videos while taking care of her husband. And her husband is with it, but he's not really with it. And her husband is living in an assisted care facility. And the videos, to give you an idea, it's like her walking down the hall, being like going to pick up hubs, and then she walks in the door, and there's a guy like struggling to eat a banana, watching like Tomb Raider, and he's like, ah, and she, you know, and she's like, ooh, picking up hubs today, and she's like shaking her ass. And like trying to get attention off of like taking care. And by the way, she's not even really taking care of her husband. Her husband is in a facility. What she's doing is she's making content around her husband having a debilitating illness that is killing him. And she's looking at this. And how many followers does she have? Read it off.
213,000 followers. And it's yeah, and it's just a profile picture of her living her best life.
Yeah, it's her, and I'm like an agent of change in the caregiver community. Meanwhile, she's not a caregiver. You are not a caregiver. Your husband is in a facility. He's being taken care of. You are showing up to make videos.
She's got a newsletter.
Oh, dude, the mental illness on this woman goes so far. It's so far. And it's really the sign of where we're at.
I got the chills.
Yeah, this is a sign of like where we're at as just people in today's day and age, where it's like, oh, my husband he was diagnosed with MS and he needs to be taken care of. And what should I do in the meantime? Well, why don't I start a page
and profit off
of my fucking sick husband and his struggling to eat a banana ass? Why don't I walk in, shake my butt, and make it my experience? Because it's not his experience. He's not really going through anything. I'm really having an experience right now that the world needs to see. If you go to any one of those videos, I guarantee 75% of them are focused on her, and then there's 25% where they like cut to the problem. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cut to him for a second and back to me. Yeah, here I am.
Because I've totally seen the other side of the spectrum, which is like people who are genuine, like, I'm here. You know, the videos are about him getting better, and like, you know what I mean? It's not about them.
Here's the thing. I mean? If she started a page and she goes, here's like, she named the page after him, and it was like, Road to Recovery, Bob H, or whatever the fuck his name is, right? And then she filmed every video, and it was right on him as he's learning to walk, or he's, you know, I don't know how it goes with that.
Giving other people in the same issue something to fight for. Like, hey, like, this is, you know.
Or how about filming the nurse that's taking care of her every day and being like, this is Rosa. She does this for him every day. And he's getting up and you show him having a fucking positive attitude through it, right? Like, then guess what? This doesn't make it to the show. This doesn't make it on my show because I don't like. That's great. Yeah. It's good. I watch it. I go positive. Good thing you're doing, right? But when I see, because here's the reason why I fucking even looked at this thing was because she's not a bad looking lady. She's not a great looking lady, but she's not a bad looking lady. And there was one that went viral, and the whole reason it went viral is because she's wearing these yoga pants.
Yeah.
And you see the one.
This is the one out of all of them.
Yeah, there's one that
has
popped
the
off.
most likes and views.
Yeah. There's one video that popped off, and of course it's her in yoga pants, and she's kind of prancing the fuck around. Oh, hey. And she looks good. Right there, I mean, I'll tell you what. The ass looks good. It's you know, and this guy, he's got the headphones on, and he's struggling through a fucking meal.
I have the video rolling now.
Yeah. But well, in the future with these episodes, what we're going to have to do is probably put this stuff into the show.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you know, or we won't. But it's brutal, man. Like, she is a snake. She's the same as the guy in the fucking airport that needs everybody to suck his dick while he's trying to drink champagne at 9 a.m. Like, it's just, this is such a weird play for attention. It's such a weird play for attention.
Some of these comments are gold.
Okay, yeah, give me a few.
So one of the comments is, it seems like he wants to leave her to leave the room so bad.
He does.
Because
you can tell.
He's enjoying his time. He's got his Beats headphones. He's got his mac and cheese.
He's like,
he's watching a YouTube video.
He's
hanging
woman.
out.
Yeah.
And
listen.
she's like, and she comes in with some guy with a camera.
With a fucking, like, a studio audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's walking in with, like, she's in the real world. And she's like, no, is this a good photo of my ass? Well, you have a good shot of my ass while I talk to my husband with MS?
Oh, the hair flip. Yeah, everything.
The hair flip. And then she's kind of like fake, like getting involved, like getting too close to him. And you can see he's like, keep her away from me. You know, like if he could really express himself, he would tell whoever's behind that camera to get her the fuck out. I'm sure the nurses at that facility know who she is, And when they see her come in the door, they like come and they're like, we're going to have her out in 15 minutes. Like they just, you know what I mean? They're trying to protect this guy from this fucking psychopath. And they can't. But what's crazy to me is that almost 250,000 people have kind of fallen for this. As like, wow, she's really... Because she's probably making a little cash. Oh, dude, how bad is that?
Yeah.
How bad is that? There's one video. She's walking him around in a wheelchair, and he can't see. He's in the wheelchair. He's facing forward, and she's kind of looking back and going like, just people should be killed. You know, it's rough, man. But anyways, I don't know. We're gonna have to get rid of her. I'm
getting ready to pick up my husband from his assisted living, and the entire video is her putting on a new outfit.
Yeah.
Like as if it's girls' night.
Yeah. Yeah, it's making me sad now.
I gotta close this.
Yeah, just get her off of it.
Oh, and her newsletter. Oh yeah. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So if you want to know what this show is, it's essentially me being angry for an hour and judging others. But, you know, I think the people that we judged today deserved it. I think every single person that was brought to this show absolutely deserved the shit that they got. They are no good, and they need to be dealt with. You know, and it's just... Because my hope, and I don't know, what generation are you?
I think I'm Gen Z.
You're Z, yeah.
I grew up with millennial stuff. Like my older brother is millennial.
Yeah.
We're 3 years apart, so we grew up with the same stuff. But I think just by definition,
you're Z.
I'm Gen Z. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're like an old Z.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my hope is that your generation and the one before you doesn't do this. And they will. They will in a worse way than my generation did, unfortunately. But my hope, if I were to talk to a kid right now, the thing that he could say that would make me the happiest is if he was like, yeah, I don't really post on Instagram. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird.
That's me. I don't really post. Yeah. I don't repost.
Yeah.
I don't comment.
Yeah. I go on and I'll watch some stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear them say.
Doom scrolling.
Yeah.
It's like doom scrolling. That's what happens to me. It's an addiction from my previous, being in high school, and everyone's got their phone. Everyone's scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, doing their Snapchat, keeping up their Snapchat streaks. I never got into that. You know what I mean? So it became this, this
so
thing for me that was just
Snapchat
addictive.
held the market.
Yeah.
So they're still doing it, and they're still pretty good. Because I don't use them, but you know, when I was young, Snapchat kind of just had kicked off, and for the most part, it was really for sending a cock or you get a pair of tits or something sent your way. It wasn't really, I can't imagine what a streak would look like with that. It feels like it would be a little excessive.
Yeah.
But people are using it for content now. They're just kind of, or is it just talking to friends?
A lot of Snapchat is the same as an Instagram reel or whatever. It's a lot of it is you go to the Discover page and it's all these TikTokers and viral people with their perfect camera and their perfect outfit and their hair, and they're doing these little skits, making my burrito bowl, my kale bowl, you know what I mean, stuff like that. And it's I deleted Snapchat 3 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago probably. And it never brought me joy. You know what I mean? And
well, this is what we're going to have to do for this show is I want to get deep into the internet, and I want to sift some of these things through. I want to know what I'm trying to think of a personality that I know. I want to know what that lady Brianna Chicken Fry is doing. She's a person, right? I don't know. I know her. She does something with Portnoy. I want to know what these people are doing, and what their problem is, and how they're making money. Because that's interesting to me. Because they really are kind of putting us through hell on earth here.
Man, you could probably do a whole series of episodes just on those like the YouTube experiments where they go out in public and they're like, "Hey, do you have $1 for the bus?" When clearly you have the money for the bus, and they're like, "Yeah, this is my last $1. I was gonna use it on a bottle of water, but here you go." And it's like, "Oh, thanks. Why were you so kind to me? Here's $1,000."
Yeah,
that type of stuff. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's just porn. It's porn for people that don't understand. Yeah. They just want to see some sort of like human goodness in the world.
It's a fake dopamine.
And here's the thing: go to church. I hate to say it, but if you're someone out there and you're like, and you need to watch that to feel good about the world, you might need to get back in touch with Christ. I don't know what to tell you. You might have to go back. Like if you really have to watch weird shit like that to think that the world has some sort of value, then it may suit you to go back to a church and get on your fucking knees, because that's going to help. It's going to help. It's going to help you connect to something. It's going to help you feel love. It's going to help you feel accepted. Because right now, if that's getting you through, I mean, it's not good. It's not a good situation. But I don't know, man. You know what's another one that I see is like we could do something on this. It's like I see these like videos where it's a girl who's hot and she's walking by a guy who is dressed as though he works at like a construction site or something. And the guy tries to fuck the girl, right? He's like, "What's up, ma?" It's usually a black guy. He's like, "What's up, ma? Like, what you doing? Trying to get up, you know?" Or whatever they say. And then that was a pretty good impression.
That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like, "No," you know what I mean? Like, "I have a boyfriend," you know, like keeps moving.
Oh, is this the gold digger one?
Yes.
Yes.
And then that guy takes off the shit, right? And then he gets in the car.
The Lambo.
Lambo.
The fucking bright red.
And then she walks over and she's like, "Wait a second. I didn't realize." No. I didn't realize that, like, you was that guy. Because, like, if I knew who you were, then, like, I probably would have gotten in your car. And, like, so, like, what was that thing you asked me? Like, you think you want to do that? And then he's like, "Nah, like, you don't even understand. Like, you know, you dissed me when you thought I had nothing. Now you coming around looking for shit?" And she's like, "But I like didn't even know. Like, how was I supposed to know that? Like, you had that, right?" And he's like, "It don't matter what I have. You should just pay attention to the character of my whatever." There's like, is there not like 500 of those?
There's thousands of them.
Yeah, dude. And who is making that going like, we need another one? You know what I mean? Like, who is like, you know what kind of content we need?
And they got to be fake too.
Well, yeah, they're all fake.
They got to be fake.
They're all fake. And all of the like body parts that are on that woman are fake.
Yeah.
And that guy is they rented that car.
This guy set up a camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
And probably has a crew behind the camera.
You know how funny that guy is though? He's like, yeah, I'm doing this video where like this chick doesn't realize how fucking sick I am.
Yeah.
And then she realizes it and I'm like, "Fuck you, bitch." And I drive away.
Which is a guy's dream. You know what I mean? To be able to turn a woman down because you're too good.
Yeah. Which goes back to our original point.
Oh, yeah.
Which is that you're not too good, okay? If there's anything you can take away from this show, it's that you're not that great. And the woman that you're fucking should not be that great either, okay? And if you're a clam and you're listening to this show, you're not that great. And the guy you're fucking, he ain't going to be that great.
And if she is that great, fucking lock it up.
Yeah. Yeah, make a decision.
Yeah.
Don't be the guy with the hot chick sitting around going like, "Should I propose?
I don't know.
I'll just see what happens."
You got all your friends just saying like,
everyone's like,
fuck
"Hey,
you. Like, do it.
Get
like,
better, buddy." Like, it's
won't.
not like there's nothing coming around that mountain.
No.
So, understand who you are, understand who you aren't, and I will see you next week. This is the Beau Knows Show. Follow at Beau McDowell Comedy. Beau is spelled Beau. And Jeff, do you want people to follow you or you don't care?
I don't really, like I said, I don't give a fuck.
That's good. You know, I think that's a good thing. They shouldn't care.
I'll have a website out with a bunch of my stuff soon, like a bunch of my work. But yeah,
all right. Well, we don't need to see that.
Yeah,
I think what we do is we just we put this out, and you know, you laugh and you talk and whatever. Once again, guys, this is the Beau Knows Show. I am Beau McDowell. Follow for more.